Welcome student, myself Dikshita Faldasar, Assistant Professor at Government College of Arts, Science and Commerce, KPM. Title of the unit, Indoor Gardening. Module name, Terrarium Gardening and Bonsai. Outline, Terrarium Gardening and Bonsai. Learning outcome, at the end of this module, the learner will be able to define terrarium gardening, explain the steps of terrarium, defines bonsai, gives an account on maintenance of bonsai, and also describes the different types of bonsai. Terrarium. The term terrarium is composed of Latin words terra, which means earth, plus arium, which means place. A terrarium is an indoor gardening container that holds plants. It is usually made of glass that is fully or partially enclosed to allow heat and light to enter and confine moisture. There are many purposes for a terrarium. They can be created for decoration, scientific observation, etc. Steps involved in making a terrarium. Choose a container. Select a transparent container made of glass to let the sunlight through. Suitable containers include aquariums, bell jars, mason jars, glass cookie jars, etc. Choose the plants. Select terrarium plants with various foliage forms and heights that are small enough to fit in the container, preferably without touching the sides of the terrarium. Add drainage layers. A terrarium container does not have drainage holes, so create a drainage layer to keep water away from plant roots. Start with a 2-inch layer of a gravel or crushed stone at the bottom of the terrarium. Next, add a layer of activated charcoal on top of the stone to help with the drainage and control any odors. Add moss and potting mix. Next, add a layer of moss over the stones and charcoal to keep the next layer, the potting soil, from mixing in. Then add slightly damp, sterile potting soil on top of the moss. The soil level should be low enough so that the plants will fit inside the container with the room to grow, but without touching the top of a closed terrarium. Prepare the plants. Before planting, decide on the design of the terrarium. Choose the spots to place tall and short plants and place to create moons and dips in the soil to create interesting contours. Remove the plants from their nursery pots. Tease the roots apart and trim off some of the longer roots. This will retard a plant's growth, which is essential when growing plants in the confines of a terrarium. Also, trim off any yellowed or damaged leaves. Add plants. Shake off any excess soil left on the plants. Dig a planting hole for each plant. Place each plant in its hole and secure each plant firmly in the potting medium. Water the terrarium. Use a spray bottle or small watering to water the plants so they are just damp but not soaking wet. Bonsai. The word bonsai is a Japanese term which means planted in a container. This art form is derived from an ancient Chinese horticultural practice, part of which was then redeveloped under the influence of Japanese Zen Buddhism. Bonsai uses cultivation techniques to produce in containers small trees that mimic the shape and scale of full-size trees. The ultimate goal of growing a bonsai is to create a miniaturized but realistic representation of nature in the form of a tree. Bonsai maintenance location. While determining the optimal spot for bonsai trees, several factors should be taken into consideration like local climate, time of the year, etc. Bonsai needs direct sunlight and should be kept at places where they receive 5 to 6 hours of sunlight daily. Watering. Bonsai should be watered every day or two. The length of the time between watering can vary quite a bit depending on conditions such as humidity, soil moisture, and size of the pot. The best time is in the morning or late afternoon. Repotting. A bonsai must periodically be repotted to supply a pot-bound root system with fresh soil. It is also necessary to keep the root system balanced with the top growth. Most require repotting every 2 or 3 years and should be placed in specialized pots. This should be done in early springs. Do not let root system dry out while repotting and do not place in direct sunlight for at least 1 week. Fertilizing. Fertilizing regularly during the growing season is crucial for bonsai to survive and thrive. Since bonsai are confined to the relatively small pots they are planted in, they need proper fertilization to replenish the soil's nutritional content. Types of bonsai. Formal upright. A tree has a straight vertical trunk with the branches in fairly horizontal position. Informal upright. In an informal upright style, the trunk grows upward, roughly in the shape of a letter S, and at every turn, branches occur. Slanting. Trees can slant naturally, occur a result of buffeting winds or deep shade during early development. Whether curved or straight, the whole trunk leans at a definite angle. Casket. The growing tip of casket bonsai reaches below the base of the container. Semi-cascade. The tip of a semi-cascade, like the cascade, projects over the rim of the container but does not drop below its base. So here are the references for this topic. For more information, you can go through the sites and books. Thank you.